Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 88 of the Mr. GLOAT podcast. And man, oh man, oh boy, I have some wild news to tell you people. And consider this has nothing to do with much when it comes to boxing, but guys, I should have done this yesterday. And considering this is the next podcast, we're already 2 days into August, and I would like to say, guys, ever since yesterday and so on, when I already did my next podcast and I released the information of the WBA being ranked in the top 15 rankings and how I thought to myself, it's great to see some new underdog and interesting hype job contenders in the top 15 rankings, like the Armenian fighter that's in the rankings, or how I still question how, for the heck of it, you still have some of these Cuban fighters that are not much punchers in the rankings. But when it comes to the Ring Magazine title, it does question. So guys, on July the 26th, the top 10 rankings were different for what they were in the world of boxing. But hilarious or not, and with all due to respect, because I really don't know what to say about this. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we came out, Counterpunch Boxing, another YouTube channel, go watch him. Well, he actually had some new news concerning Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King. Because at this moment, I'm already criticizing this already, still. Because the Ring Magazine has already released their rankings in the heavyweight division in the top 10. And for some hilarious reason, we have boxers. So with Alexander Usyk being the champion, the top 10 ranked boxers from number 1 to number 10 are as follows. So Tyson Fury is still number 1, even though he hasn't fought since December, or even hasn't even won a fight in under 2 years, when it was actually the UFC fighter Francis Ngannou. But his legit last win was back in December of 2022. So it's been under 3 years since he last won a legit fighter, even if Derek Chisora wasn't much of a legit fighter. And then you have Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder only scored 1 win this year against a guy that he should have knocked out legit, but only went 7 rounds. It was a good fight to get him started, but it wasn't much of a fight to say much about. I actually thought Deontay Wilder was going to come in and interrupt Alexander Usyk's celebration in Wembley Stadium, but I guess he wasn't there. And he's number 2. Anthony Joshua is number 3. But then this is when things get stupid. So Zhilei Zhang's number 4. Andrew Ruiz is number 5. Dillian White, number 6. And then you have Joe Joyce at number 7, with Luis Ortiz at number 8, and Joseph Parker, number 9. The number 10 boxer is none other than Filip Hrgović. And you want to know what's crazy? Someone actually left a ranking saying that Filip Hrgović was Cuban, just like Luis Ortiz. Which is kind of weird for me to say that, because Filip Hrgović is from Croatia, and the top 10 rankings of Ring Magazine said that Filip Hrgovic's flag is Cuban. So I'm kind of wondering if Filip Hrgović is not Croatian, even though he was born there, but now he's living in Cuba. Just look that up. It's kind of ridiculous seeing these rankings as we speak. And just to let you guys know, this is from Counterpunch Boxing, where he showed top 10 rankings. And I question, because guys, here's my problem. So Filip Hrgović in June, lost against Daniel Dubois. But then this year, around the spring, or during the start of 2025, he defeats Joe Joyce. Now he's number 10, but Joyce is number 7. Even Luis Ortiz and Andy Ruiz had their last fight last year ago, and they haven't fought since. And Ruiz is at number 5 with Ortiz at number 8. And then you have Zhou Zhang, number 4. Which is kind of weird to say that you have Phil Pergovich far away from number 9. And then you have Joseph Parker, that's number 9. And Pergovich 10. And Zhou Zhang could be at number 4. I'm actually wondering why they don't even put Agate Caballella on that list. Barry, yeah, I don't even know how they have Joseph Parker barely at the top 10. And putting Deontay Wilder at number 2, and even though Anthony Joshua hasn't had much of competition except taking on a Francis Ngannou and getting his butt beat by Darren Dubois, so in 2024 it wasn't really a year to be talking about him when it came to the fights he fought. So you look back at this, and I do think to myself, it's just ridiculous to see these fighters being ranked higher, even though they've lost against the top fighters they lost against, and those fighters that they lost against are ranked lower. Guys, the Ring Magazine has no idea what they're doing. They have zero idea of what they're doing to make boxing a little bit more legit, when in reality, I just say that it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. So it just goes to show you, I think when you look at this, yeah, it is ridiculous. So I don't know what they're going to do, but we're going to find out and see what's going to happen. Just about. And not only that, guys, on Box.live boxing rankings, the Ring states that Usyk is the champ, with Tyson Fury at number 1, Joseph Parker at number 2, Agate Caballella at number 3, and Dubois at 4, Joshua 5, Pergovich 6, Wardley 7, Zhang 8, Bakali 9, and Agate F.A. Ajagba number 10. So take that for what you will, but yet again, I do find that a little bit better, but yet again, I do question a little bit of the ridiculousness about this, because it just makes me feel that they're not taking it seriously. So we'll find out to see what happens in the future. But, ladies and gentlemen, the second topic I like to talk about, and technically, guys, I am going to talk about the show in Japan, because Japan, ladies and gentlemen, guys, I might as well review the final of Japan as we speak, because at this moment, it's a real tough situation out there for the fun of it. And in all hindsight, I really can't say that they've pulled out a great victory snapping their finger, in all fairness. Because I've seen a lot of interesting moments here in the sport where a lot of these fighters have done great jobs. But I think when looking at, guys, the second topic I will talk about is different. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I really don't know what to say about this one other than considering this upsets me a little bit, because this one really upsets me, because I do find this one ridiculous. Because, guys, this one's going to be really different for me to look at, because when it comes to a lot of this, I try to find updates on the next fights and other information. And technically, guys, I really couldn't find a lot to this. But while trying to find information, I've been trying to follow along the information as best I can about this for a while, because you don't know what's about to happen when that time comes. Because when it happens, you better follow it up with a bunch of snapping the fingers here, because this one does give you a little bit of a just a itchy feeling here, because from the world of boxing, ladies and gentlemen, I've seen a lot of ridiculous stuff. But I think when looking at everything else here, the world of boxing does bring a lot of problems here, because from the fairness, because as for some reason, it seems like this fight on September the 13th might not go as well as I expected. Because, guys, one day ago, the U.S. Sun Journal already put out an information that Crawford shows off his body transformation after putting on 14 more pounds. Now, guys, keep this in mind. Several months ago, Crawford already checked out his body that he was 186 pounds. Guys, a 5'8" tall fighter like him at 186 is ridiculous. And the problem is, guys, you only have to weigh just over 160 to under 168 pounds to be in the division. So I did question what Crawford was doing, because, guys, Crawford can be an undisputed champion 3 times. Guys, people say that Henry Armstrong will always be a boxer to ever become 3-time undisputed champion 3 weight classes. He would have been a 4-time weight class champion in the middleweight due to that controversial draw in the middleweight that would have given him a 4-time champ, which that became controversial. Like, Terrence Crawford, in my opinion, sets a lot of problems here. Because after his wins in the lightweight during the early of 2014, and then he sets out fights in 2015 to go up a few pounds in the super lightweight, win out some belts in 2016, and then become champion undisputed in 2017 by domination win. And then the next year in 2018, he goes up about an extra 6 more pounds to defeat Jeff Horn for the WBO World Welterweight title, retains out the title then, and by 2019, after defending the title a couple more times by knockout, he defends out the belt once a year from 2020 to 21, 2022, and 2023, and that 2023 win for Undisputed against Spence was the best win of his career. And then we come to 2024, he's a 4-time champion against Israel Madrimov by a surprising win. And I saw that fight, and even though it was tough for me to watch, because I was like, Terrence Crawford had problems going up 7 or so pounds to go at 153 in the weight class, even though he won out the first 3 rounds of the fight, or so on, because some of the rounds were hard for me to judge in the first fight. After he got beat up so hard in round 5, and he did manage to hold out some rounds in round 6 and 7, even though he wasn't dominating the rounds as much as Madrimov did in round 8 and round 9. So after everything else going on, and even when he got the last 2 rounds easily, I still question that Crawford has to get used to his body weight. At 153 pounds, it was different. And when hearing that he was going to step up to super middleweight to fight Alvarez, I question, why not just go to the super welterweight to go for a 5 weight class champion? The last time we had a 5 weight class champ was Manny Pacquiao in 2009. And we haven't had one since, and there was only 5 out there. So why not go to super welterweight? And guys, this is the part that still upsets me. Why not go to the middleweight division, gain up a couple extra pounds at 154, so maybe 155 or 156. You don't have to be over or barely under 160. Have a match against any fighter you might say is there, and take on Irizlando Lara, the past prime fighter that's 42 years old, for the WBA title in the middleweight. Better yet, you can take on Janibek Alimekhanali, from the country of Kazakhstan, living in Oxnard, California, in the USA, and he's 17-0. And he's the IBF and WBO World Middleweight Champion, along with promoter Bob Arum and the Rustam Kwanshalayev, and the other promotions that he had in April the 5th when he had his title defense, depending on what promoter he's working with, except he's with manager and agent Egis Klimaz. And like I said, the top-ranked promoter is Bob Arum, and people are already thinking that he might not have a chance to even fight for anything, but they might as well give him a chance to fight against this fighter of Terence Crawford. Like, give Terence Crawford a couple fights or so, and instead of fighting once a year, like, guys, I don't know why it has to take Terence Crawford over a full year, because, guys, when I thought that he was fighting in 2024, I thought he was going to take an interesting, easy fight. I thought maybe if, like maybe when Terence Crawford retained his undisputed title, defeating William Skull for the IBF to become undisputed again, the least you can say is, well, he can take some time off. Maybe he can have a fight with anyone else. Better yet, how about he takes on against Jermell Hitman Charlo, his other twin brother that he defeated the Iron Man Charlo, the former middleweight undisputed championship in 2023. He could take on his twin brother, just like how Canelo Alvarez destroyed the Cotto brothers and the Smith brothers, and now he might destroy the Charlo brothers. So who knows? He can do that instead and have Terence Crawford fight someone else in the middleweight to see if he's ready, and if he is, he's okay. But yet again, after his win against Azrael Madrimov last year in August, I just don't know, guys. I just don't like the idea of it. I don't see Terence Crawford and his body weight helping him. Like I said before, guys, I will review this entire show and after the fight, if it does happen. It will be on episode 100 or 99 of this Mr. Glow podcast. I'm 88 episodes in here, so we have 12 more to go. And I'm going to take a long hiatus, guys, after the month of August is over, because I think this Mr. Glow podcast does not deserve to be in the Fox Wolf anymore on this YouTube channel. It deserves to have its separate channel, but yet again, guys, I think we have to understand the level and the fortitude of understanding the exact underestimating these ideas, because even if Terence Crawford does become undisputed champion, where does he go now? Wait, where else should you even do? Because he's 41-0. He's 37 years old. He's boxed since 2008. So 17 years. He can. I'm not saying he won't defeat Canelo Alvarez, but even if he does, who else will he go next? He's proved himself as a good fighter, but yet again, I think he's pushing the limits a lot more than anyone else has. Just like Jermell Ironman Charlo and many other fighters that had a chance. Because guys, Terence Crawford can go for broke here for undisputed champ to become the first man to do it since 1938 with Henry Armstrong. But this is just not the idyllic way I can say is good. I just don't see this working out for Terence Crawford, and I just don't like it one bit. So whatever's going to happen, just let it happen. But I just don't want it to happen because it's just a waste of time. And that's all I have to say about this. It's just lame, and I hate every bit of it. Bad. All right, guys, let's get on with the show. Live on DAZN in Yokohama, Buntai, Yokohama, Kanagawa, Japan, with promoter Akihiko Honda Promotions. This, ladies and gentlemen, is interesting. So, ladies and gentlemen, pulling out all the strings attached to everyone here, I think this one's going to be interesting. So, guys, the first two matches on the show, that was a middleweight fighter that was in his debut named Yuki Taniguchi, pulled out his good win in round 2. Another rookie boxer named Tensho Isobe did not deserve to be in it. He lost by a close split decision in 4 rounds in a super bantamweight fight against a 1-2 fighter, and nothing much for him there. And then you have these other 3 boxing fights that are interesting, to say the least. So, guys, I won't get into a lot of the I wouldn't really say I wouldn't really say much about this one. Like take this for what you will, guys, because if anything can go on in the future of boxing, I wouldn't really say it's gonna work, because at the end of the day, you might think that we're unstoppable in the future, but yet again, when you get to the inevitable of boxing here, because guys, there'll be a lot of upset moments in boxing. And considering this is July the 30th, the final days of July, I really can't say much about its fortitude of understanding where we're going. Now, so here, ladies and gentlemen, we have this. I really don't know how to point this out, guys, but as to point out all the bigger upset fights with Solomon Dakriz defeating Vladislav Stolenko on the undercard of the Usyk and Dubois 2 fight, or even hearing the controversial of Jennifer Miranda not even defeating Alicia Baumgartner, even though she should have won with all the bull crap in America. But for some reason, it's hard for me to give myself a good pat on the back. So, with all this being said, guys, this one will be a tough thing to talk about. So we have 3 boxing matches in Japan, 3 Japanese fighters in title contentions. We have a WBA and WBC light flyweight champion, a WBA bantamweight, and a WBA light flyweight division. So with that being said, guys, we have one fighter that's from the USA, bantamweight champion Antonio Vargas, another fighter with a little bit of a funner name of Ricardo Rafael Sandova, also in the flyweight, WBC champion, and giving himself a chance for a WBA with Taraji, and Eric Rosa, WBA light flyweight champion. So what else can you say about this other than whoever wins, wins? Well, guys, the first fight is going to be interesting. And considering Eric Rosa is not an American, he's from Dominican Republic. He's ranked number 11, while Kiyosuke Takami is number 1 in the light flyweight. The problem is the guy, considering I had questions with this fight for a couple reasons. One is that Takami has 9 wins and 7 of them by knockout, and Eric Rosa 8 wins and 2 knockouts. But considering if that could be it, because Eric Rosa has been problems from high alerts and going on hiatus fights because the minimum weight wasn't being too kind to him. And Takami has been going nonstop wins after wins in 2022 and 2023 and 2024. So he's been on domination since his other win last April for the Japan Boxing Commission Japanese light flyweight title. And this is what he does. So the fight comes out as this. So this is the best 2 out of 3, ladies and gentlemen. Whoever wins, wins. So Rosa is in blue and red with white trunks with Takami. they both study out each other in the first rounds, with Takami just... Guys, there's nothing much I can say about this fight. The first 5 rounds were all Takami. Like, there are times that Rosa can try to go for a jab and a good punch once in a while, but Takami, he corners out Eric to the ropes once, and then he throws out punches, some quick jabs and quick uppercuts here and there. And considering Rosa leads off with his right foot and Kyosuke leads off with his left foot, so you can already tell that Takami is orthodox. And of course, our southpaw buddy is Eric. So southpaw and orthodox play their parts differently in boxing. And there were times in the match that had moments that they were not doing a lot of stuff with Eric, because he's not a knockout fighter. And guys, I have said this in the other podcasts some time ago, where I said that Clarissa Shields and other female boxers are not knockout fighters. They don't know how to do knockouts. In all fairness, there's plenty of boxers out there that are not much tough fighters to begin with to throw knockouts. So not every man can do knockouts, just like Floyd Mayweather in his later career. Who knows?
Let's talk about the
but yeah, you go into each round, and like the second round seemed like Eric Rosa had something where he was finally throwing out heavy punches or here and there, body punches, and Takami was blocking them. But when looking at it, I think Eric Rosa was in the wrong place, because Eric Rosa has been fighting in this country so much that this is his first time out of his country. So
he believes in
with
himself more
that
than
being
Tyson.
said, I think we can understand the problem. Round 6 was actually the better round for our buddy, the mini Pac-Man of Eric Rosa, considering how people call him the mini Pac-Man. So. But after this fight, no way that was going to be it. But yeah, guys, I think Eric Rosa was not ready to go to a different location. As a 2-time weight class champion, depending if people say that he didn't deserve it to become minimum weight champion. Well, I wouldn't really say that. I really wouldn't say that. So Takami comes in, he's laying out punches after punches, and he's just doing every amazing job effort to make sure that Eric doesn't throw any interesting counter punches. Because guys, what you're seeing here is this. Guys, it seemed like Eric Rosa, because he was ranked number 11 in the light flyweight, and Takami was ranked number 1 and he was champion, Eric Rosa thought in his own mind that if he can pull out this win, he can win it. So, guys, it seemed like Eric Rosa was gambling money just so he can be ranked number 1 if he can defeat this fighter that he has an idea that he can win. While Takami, on the other hand, he's ranked number 1 for pound, but he's never a champion, and he's getting this opportunity against a guy that scored only 2 knockouts in his 8 fights. So it seemed like Rosa was gambling so much, and Kyosuke Takami was calling his bluff. And this is what you get. Now, I will say, though, guys, round 6 was actually the better round for Eric Rosa, and it was actually the only round I would have scored in that fight. 2 out of 3 judges gave him that round, the only round they gave him. So you can tell that. But I think after round 7 and round 8 came along with so much beating and how the tables were turning so badly, because you thought after round 6 was good for Rosa, the next round would be better for him halfway through, but the second half was just never there, and Rosa just could not find the groove to finish out the fight. He had no idea what he was getting himself into. Guys, Eric Rosa had no idea where he was trying to go from here, because it seemed like he did not know what he was doing. because during the 9th round, when getting beaten up, I'm surprised that he was still in that fight against a dangerous guy that was a knockout killer. He was that scary. And I'm surprised that he was still on his feet the entire time in that fight. He was badly hurt. And then in round 10 came the moment where, well, depending on who you ask, where in round 9, during the end of the 9th round, Eric Rasa is trying to block out punches as best he can, and they're both butting their heads in some time. And then the final seconds, he throws a left, a complete miss, while charging up his stance. And then Takami's throwing out these punch combinations, corners him to the rope again, and Eric ducks behind him and runs to the other side of the corner trying to escape him. And Takami it almost looked like he was going to end the fight until the bell rung. Like, seeing Eric Rasa run away during the final seconds of that round, you can tell. And it was crazy that they showed a huge right uppercut to the body by Takami, and another punch combination of a punch upstairs and then with a body punch. So Takami was just that good for what he was. Now keep this in mind, guys. Eric Rasa, he's 25 years old, and Takami's only 23 years old, and these guys only barely had under 10 fights in their belt. So yeah, a 23-year-old kid like that from Japan doing that to someone, that's ridiculous. And I'm only 26 years old, and I'm going to turn 27 in a few weeks now. So it just goes to show you, that's a pride fighter with his prime on the line. And during the 10th round, considering how Rasa was trying to get some charging into Takami, but again, no matter what he tries to do, every time he tries to charge in, throws body punches, he just couldn't get nothing done. And then as it looked like Rasa was going to throw a body punch left, out of nowhere, he turns his body, barely connects a body punch to Takami, but then Takami settles with a right punch, gets him right to the jaw, and it knocks him to the ropes, and not to the ropes, He headbutts his head to the corner rope, almost like how Floyd Mayweather throwed a perfect punch that hit Ricky Hatton, and then Hatton just headbutt his body or his head to one of the corners and then hit him to the ground, and he just felt dazed as hell. Yeah, it was that bad. And just seeing Eric Rasa not recover from that until, and consider they only had like 10 or 15 seconds left of the round coming to an end until that final round. Yeah, it was great they stopped the fight, because every single round except 6 was a winning round. It just goes to show you how seeing a guy that dangerous and the only Japanese fighter on the show to do that dangerous of harming someone, even at 107 pounds, that's some dangerous skills you have to be careful of. So yeah, a guy trying to be ranked number 1 in the pound for pound is number 11, and this number 1 fighter that's never become champion before. Both of these guys had an opportunity to make something big for themselves, and Takami, he might have called out the guy's bluff, and that's what happened, because seeing how that became the finish of the show, technically there was more to it. Because guys, the worst was yet to come, because you think this was going to be the most dangerous thing ever, but guys, it was going to get worse. It was, and out of here flight. So it just goes to show you, I think the real moment in boxing would be the easy money.
To make great fights with, personality.
And I think this is the moment where it gets worse.
And style-wise, in that ring, the opposite. One guy coming
so
forward,
Antonio Vargas versus
Daigo Higa.
I don't want to talk about this one as much, but guys, I think when everything came to play here, I wouldn't really say that there was moments that I would ever say that something was going to happen here.
The end to another very
Now, guys, Daigo
entertaining
Higa
round in what has been a very
has been having
entertaining
problems
fight. A fight
for trying to
where
get some
there's
fights
just
done
bad
and
intentions. The fight
some
that just doesn't
interesting
have the feel of a fight that's going to be a
moments in
decision win for
boxing,
somebody.
and
Looks like somebody's going to get
considering
stopped.
he's
Right from
had
the
some
beginning, they've been
moments
fighting
here
with
in boxing,
desperation.
but
Like,
Antonio's
owning the decision, as you just touched on, has
winning
not been
the
in their
bout
minds at all.
outside of the ring given to him was
Muhammad
tough
Ali is
enough.
just a sitting target here now. I
But
mean,
when
you know
looking
where to
at the
find him each and
fights
every time you come on the
now
attack.
is
Yeah,
tough.
he's very predictable. He needs to get on those feet a little bit, start to change his
Because,
place
guys,
in that
ever
ring.
since some time ago when Jose Maria Cardenas
Mike
defeated
Tyson on the
Antonio
inside
Vargas,
can do such
it
damage
seemed
as
like
he
that
is
was
here.
the end
Good
of
job
Vargas'
just letting
career.
those hands go.
And Daigo, he just couldn't get nothing done as much, whoever you ask, because it was tough. And then he was given this belt after he was interim champion last year, and that's what it was. The boxing match went on as it is, and Daigo, considering that he, at 29 years old, 11 years in the boxing ring, I really couldn't say he had a lot of heart to prove himself. Like, he was a WBC World Flyweight Champion, defending it a few times until he lost in 2018, so...
weaken him a little bit.
But
it's also
his
for
loss
himself.
against Raisuke Nishida was an interesting fight that he should have had chances with. But his loss against Yoshiki Takei last year in September was tough enough, and scoring a unanimous draw against Seiya Tatsumi was done enough. So you come to a boxing match, and you see these two guys just trying to get their stuff together in the bantamweight, and before you know it, it ends like this. So what happened? Antonio Vargas gets into the first round. The second round had something interesting for Daigo, but yet again, I couldn't say much about that, as Vargas managed to pull out the round. And then round 3, Daigo pulls out some interesting secret weapon into his pocket to score out a win, only to bring out a 10-8 knockout score in round 4. He brings out Vargas, dominating him again in round 5, and then Vargas comes out in round 6, and both study each other as best they could. They're getting something done. And then by round 7, round 8, Vargas again shows domination. In round 9, Daigo gets in another score for himself.
He clinches when he gets to the inside.
Whatever you say.
Muhammad Ali
And then
did a good job there, able to avoid that punch.
For some interesting reason,
Blocks that punch.
after round 10 was over,
Muhammad
when
Ali's got a way
Daigo
of just getting
managed
away
to
from that punch.
dominate another
Well,
round,
we've seen the complete opposite.
the
We've
last
seen
2 rounds
fighters that when they've
became
been knocked
surprising.
down, they become desperate, or they
Because at this
completely
moment,
close
in
the
my
door and
opinion,
get overly
Daigo is
cautious.
winning by a
This
round.
fighter's fighting the same way he's
We
ever
come
been.
into round 11, and surprisingly, Antonio is putting in the good work. And then in the final round, he scores out a 10-8 victory for a score knockout. Now, Daigo survives the 12th round, but not without getting hurt by a knockout. So my scorecard was barely 114 to 112 for Antonio Vargas, winning the fight. Because I gave him round 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, and 11, 12. 114 to 112 because of the 2 knockouts. But all 3 judges decided to give it 113 to 113, ending in a unanimous draw. Now guys, a unanimous draw is pretty clear, but considering that nobody won this fight, it seemed like Antonio... Guys, I'm not saying that Antonio didn't win the war, but he retained it, but not the way I thought he would. Like, I think without that 10-8 score, if he did not knock out Daigo Higa, that would have been really, really questionable. Because my scorecard would have still been 114 to 113, giving it for Antonio Vargas to win the fight. But if he didn't score out that 10-8 round, and it would have been a 10-9 round, that means all three judges, depending on how badly hurt Daigo was, because Vargas was winning that round easily,
Mike Tyson stunned, and he is hurt.
all of the judges would have had it 114 to 113 for Higa to win the title. So you look back at it, it is what it is, but it was a close fight, don't get me wrong. And I will say, though, it was one close fight. I can still remember that it was a good fight for what it was, but at the end of the day, I wish Antonio Vargas retained the title as he should have because of that, but
Not able to land the uppercut.
I don't know. 114 to 112 was somewhat of a round there. There were a couple rounds that would have been something for Higa, but yet again, I don't know. I think Vargas got robbed for this fight. Like, at least he saved it because he scored the 12th round knockout, and that was good for him to retain the title. So, but not the way he should have won it, retained it. So, I still question that. So the final fight, ladies and gentlemen, is Kenshiro Teraji, WBA champion versus WBC champion Rafael Sandova. So guys, this fight right here, ladies and gentlemen, is the groundwork for all of us people to understand who Kenshiro is. So guys, Kenshiro has been in utter domination, winning fights. Rafael has been trying to recover from his career with over a good amount of wins in his career. His fifth professional fight in 2016, 5 months after his debut, he lost against Alonzo Queixa in a 4-round fight, which that guy would later retire in 2023 against a tough fighter that he just lost undefeatedly. And then Sandova went on to become WBC Youth Intercontinental Flyweight Champ. He lost against David Jimenez, an 11-0 fighter by majority decision 2022. And then after getting the Super Flyweight title, he gets on ranked as champion. By the way, guys, I forgot to mention, Kenshiro is not just the WBA flyweight champion, he's also the WBC champion. This isn't for a unification title, this is unifying champion Kenshiro. So I do apologize for that, guys. I apologize, I forgot. It's not WBC or WBA champion fighting together with two guys holding each title. It's Kenshiro, the unified champion. So forgot. But speaking about Teraji Kenshiro is trying to recover after his fatality loss against Masamichi Yabuki in 2021 for his light flyweight title. And ever since he had questioned his insanity, and then he comes back in March of 2023, he wins the rematch by a good knockout victory. And then after that, when he retained the belt about 4 more times by the start of 2024, considering how he almost lost in January of 2024 against Carlos Canizales, he decided to go up a few pounds to the light flyweight, score out a win against Christopher Rosales in October to win by knockout, retains out the title, defeats Sege Yuri Akui in March this year. So his 2 wins and notable wins, he's been on a winning streak for winning 7 of his last fights and so on. And even after his 8 title defenses in his first fight, reigns before he lost his first fight. So we do question what his legit competition is. And they were already betting him as the favorite to win this fight. But guys, considering it's July the 30th and we're almost coming to the end of this month of July, I still think that Sandova, Ricardo Rafael, had something here, and I believe he had this win. I gave him a 12-round decision to win this fight.
Oh, absolutely. First of all,
and believe it or not, he had to earn it. So I'm not going to talk too much about this fight, guys.
Or it could be the opposite.
So guys, the first couple rounds were different enough. Both guys in trunks. Both guys are leading off with the left foot, so they are orthodox fighters, which is a lot more better than saying about the Rasa and Takayama fight in the light flyweight. Oh yeah, and by the way, as I've also talked about, I forgot to mention, Daiga, Higa, and Antonio Vargas, they were also orthodox boxers when it came to their bantamweight fight that night. So keep that in mind. So this is also another orthodox fight. So both guys study each other as best they can, and Kenshiro manages to pull out some interesting fights here. You get couple punch combinations to Raphael. And Kenshiro manages to put himself in a good fire here. There was some moments into the first round and even in some other rounds where every time Kenshiro tries to push Raphael to the rope, Raphael pushes him back and starts scaring him with some punches. But after the first couple rounds, when Kenshiro had some interesting rounds there, the second round seemed like that Ricardo had something, but I think Kenshiro might have won that round. And then we come to round 3 and then round 4. Things took a dark turn where he comes out of nowhere. He tries to, like in the first minute of the third round, he finally throws some interesting punch combinations of jab, hooks, uppercuts, and then Kenshiro comes out and tries to throw some jabs here or there. And by the way, these are short guys right